but the Christmas time.
One more time.
That's quite some strength to break the mallet. Strong work. Good morning. My name is Jill Thompson, and I use she, her pronouns. I have the honor of being your worship associate this morning. Please take a moment to put your mind, spirit, and cell phones in worship mode. We welcome everyone here and online to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke, with a special welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. We hope you stay after the service for coffee in the fellowship hall. Let's take a second to stand up and connect with everyone watching at home. For those of you online who wish to share your joys and concerns during the Lifelines portion of the service, please put them in the chat in the next 15 minutes. We acknowledge that our church resides on the traditional lands of the Tutelo and Monacan nations and was later farmed and developed through slave labor. We recognize and respect the ongoing connection to this land by generations of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. May our gratitude and fellowship here echo and honor that rich history. Now, please join me in reciting our words of welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness or overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. And our covenant, we commit to supporting each other with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and to be a force for good in the world.
We have some Christmas cheer for you all, complete with orchestra.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm the Reverend Jen Raffensperger. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am honored to serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke. Thank you to everyone. I know it's, I was talking to somebody earlier who's like, I'm from Minnesota, this is nothing. Which is fair. And it's kind of cold and gross, and I'm sure we have a bunch of people on YouTube who decided not to bother coming out in this, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm going to use our opening words this morning are A Blessing for Advent and Christmas by Howard Thurman, who was ordained in Roanoke. I will light candles this Christmas. Candles of joy despite all the sadness. Candles of hope where despair keeps watch. Candles of courage where fear is ever present. Candles of peace for tempest-tossed days. Candles of grace to ease heavy burdens. Candles of love to inspire all my living. Candles that will burn all year long. So now I'll invite Jill to light our chalice, joining us together in this practice with Unitarian Universalist congregations and churches and fellowships and communities all across the nation and the world. We light the flame of our living tradition, knowing that it burns bright within our hearts.
What time it is. I'm going to invite forward our folks who are young at heart, anyone who wants to take a closer look at our Joy Machine this morning. Some of you have seen the Joy Machine before, some of you have not, but this is the Joy Machine. My name is Jessie. I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here, which means that I do all things religious education, and I use they, them pronouns. So the Joy Machine showed up under the tree this morning, and all the lights were on, which means that there might be something inside the Joy Machine. Does anyone want to reach in and see what's in there? Oh, my goodness. Okay. You know what? There might be more than one thing. So let's just make a line and reach in and grab one thing you feel. All right. You can hand it to me. Hold it up first, though. Yeah. Go for it. Ooh. All right, so this looks like, what does this look like? A wreath, and it's got how many holes in it? 4 holes in it. Go for it. See what you find in there. There's nothing else in there? Reach around. Oh, what is that thing? A purple candle. We've got a purple candle. What else is in there? Go for it. A pink candle. Oh, there's more. So go for it. Another purple candle. There were 4 holes. You think we might have 4 candles? Ah, there it is. All right, go ahead and sit down. Thank you, everybody. So I have a wreath that has 3 purple candles and 1 pink candle. Has anyone seen a wreath like this before? No. I see hands out there. Does it have a special name? It's an Advent wreath. And you know what? I'm going to ask Rev Jen to tell us more about why 1 candle is an odd color.
Hey, tech team, I forgot to tell you I had a part in this. That's on me. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jessie.
Thank you.
Well, so if you don't know what an Advent candle is, maybe somebody, what is Advent? Have you heard of what, Maris?
Is it like 3D, like calendar?
like a 3D calendar, kind of like this box that you all have been doing that you open every day. Yeah?
So it's a thing that you use to count down, and there's little prizes.
Right, this is perfect.
You can use it for any holiday.
You can use
Use it for any holiday. Let's take one more insight here. Malin, yeah? It is a season. So yeah. So Advent is interesting because, Christmas is a big cultural thing that we do, and it's also a Christian holiday, celebrating the birth of Jesus. Advent is a Christian season on their calendar, the 4 Sundays prior to Christmas. Those count down the weeks of Advent. But what Christians do who observe this practice is they keep a wreath, a bigger one than this because these candles have to last all month. And every Sunday, you light a new candle and then keep it going. And when I was a kid, we lit it before dinner. Like instead of saying grace, we would light a purple candle, or on week 2, 2 purple candles. But on week 3, this is the 3rd week of Advent, we light a pink candle. Pink is the color for joy. And if you were to go into a Catholic and some Episcopal churches today, you might see the priests wearing pink robes or stoles. This is as close to pink as I could get. But this is a Christian practice of patience and waiting for Christmas, the birth of Jesus.
So I'm going to ask Willow, Randall, and Malin to help me light we're going to light 2 purple candles and today's candle, which is pink. We're going to light them from the chalice. So thank you for lighting those candles. The joy candle is now lit. We're going to head upstairs and work on our movie a little bit. You ready? Let's do it.
Our reading this morning is Quilts by Nikki Giovanni. Quilts for Sally Sellers. Like a fading piece of cloth, I am a failure. No longer do I cover tables filled with food and laughter. My seams are frayed, my hems failing, my strength no longer able to hold the hot and cold. I wish for those first days when, just woven, I could keep water from seeping through, repelled stains with the tightness of my weave, dazzled the sunlight with my reflection. I grow old, though pleased with my memories. The tasks I can no longer complete are balanced by the love of the tasks gone past. I offer no apology, only this plea. When I am frayed and strained and drizzle at the end, please someone cut a square and put me in a quilt that I might keep some child warm, and some old person with no one else to talk to will hear my whispers and cuddle near.
Thank you, Jill. After my paternal grandfather died, my grandmother was heartbroken. However, she was always a woman with many friends and other interests in her life, so eventually, even with her grief, she found joy in her life again. One of her friends suggested to her that she might want to take up a hobby, perhaps some kind of craft, to keep her mind and hands occupied when the loneliness was hitting her particularly hard. And so my grandmother decided to make a quilt. She wasn't much of a seamstress or crafter of any kind, but she duly went out and bought quilt stuff. I don't know if she took lessons, maybe she got a book. It was way before the internet could help teach her. And the next year, she finished the quilt. It wasn't put together terribly well. An experienced quilter would look at the seams, the cuts, the way the edges were cut on the bias or against the bias or whatever is the wrong way to do that. I am not a quilter. But an experienced quilter would pronounce this quilt a bit of a mess. But it was a beginner's quilt. And of course, to my non-quilter's eyes, it was beautiful. My grandmother stitched her name and the date, Lib 1981, into the corner, draped it on the foot of the guest bed, and proceeded to never sew another stitch in her life, as far as I'm aware. The season of Advent reminds me of my grandmother, because in a very Catholic family of origin, she was the one who took it most seriously, not just as a faith, but as a culture. One year, my grandmother requested and received a prie-dieu for Christmas. If you do not know, if you're not that Catholic, this is a wooden stand with a padded place to kneel, and then a back and a top to place your praying hand. So it's like a kneeler for your home. She always carried a rosary, and she often wore a scapular, a small cloth loop with devotional images underneath her collar. She would wear a cross and a miraculous medal, and she had a St. Christopher medal in the car. She did all that stuff. One of the great mysteries of Catholicism to me as a child, and there were many, but one of the big ones was the third Sunday of Advent, Gaudete Sunday. It was called Gaudete because in the Mass for this day, that is the first word of the introit. The first word in the whole Mass, Gaudete, means rejoice in Latin. We already talked about this with the kids. Advent is the season that leads up to Christmas. And so the primary spiritual discipline of the season is patience. In my family, we would light a candle on the Advent wreath every night before dinner in place of saying grace. And I loved watching the candles get shorter as the month went on. We would light, so every day of that first week, we would light one purple candle, and then on Sunday, we could add the second purple candle, and then every night that week, we lit two. And so the first one would be really stubby by the end of the month, and depending on when Christmas was, the last one would barely be burned. I loved the third week, though, most of all, because of the pink candle. And not just the candle. All the fancy robes and stoles and chasubles and dalmatics and other names for obscure pieces of clergy gear were also pink. I would marvel as a little Catholic girl to see the parish priest in the fanciest rose-colored outfit that Sunday. But as a kid, I didn't really understand why we shifted from purple to pink on this week. My father patiently explained to me that the color symbolizes joy in this context, the joy that all Christians are expected to feel at the coming of the celebration of the birth of Jesus. But why, I would ask, isn't the last Sunday of Advent the pink one? Wouldn't we be more joyful the closer we got to Christmas? And again, my patient father would try to explain that Advent was a time for thoughtful reflection, for patience, something of a solemn time in the church year. The third Sunday comes about halfway through Advent. There are 2 weeks before and around 2 weeks after, depending on when in the week, again, Christmas falls. So this was the time designated liturgically when some of the austerity of the season was allowed to lift, and the bright color reflected that. Well, how many of you have ever tried to explain austerity to a child 2 weeks before Christmas? And how did that go? I wish for those first days when just woven I could keep water from seeping through, repelled stains with the tightness of my weave, dazzled the sunlight with my reflection. I grow old, though pleased with my memories. The tasks I can no longer complete are balanced by the love of the tasks gone past. When I learned about the death of Nikki Giovanni earlier this week, I knew that I would have to go to her poetry and use that this week for a reading, knowing how she affected the community of Virginia Tech as well as our entire culture. It was a little bit of an overwhelming task, especially having to clutch onto the title and theme that I picked 2 months ago. What joyful Advent reflection could grow from which poem? How on earth to choose? The tasks I can no longer complete are balanced by the love of the tasks gone past. Joy comes to us at every stage of life. Perhaps if you lived a life of similar privilege and comfort to the one that I did as a child, the idea of joy not being present during the entire Christmas season was somehow unthinkable. And being patient? Knowing joy was coming, but also understanding that there is a good deal to learn and enjoy in the time of waiting during the oh-so-challenging act of practicing patience. Why, when I was small and caught up in all of the excitement of Christmas, of course, that felt impossible. Waiting, patience. When I was young, I thought joy was my birthright and that to be separated from it was agony. I was a bit of a dramatic child. So we come back to my grandmother and the one quilt she ever produced. My grandfather died when I was 8. And they didn't live very close to us, so we only saw them once or twice a year, and I didn't have many memories from that far back, so I'd only seen my grandfather maybe fewer numbers of times than I could count on my hands. I just didn't have enough memories of him to be that sad when he died, but I did feel sad when I saw the grief reflected in other adults that I loved. And then I saw my bright and vibrant grandmother heartbroken. And I saw her working on this quilt, which honestly, I think she may have come to resent, though that may be a projection of my adult self. I can't ask her. My grandmother passed away in 2008, 1 year shy of her 100th birthday. What she was doing, though, step by slow, aching step, was rebuilding her own ability to connect with and create joy in her own life. When one way to access joy has been taken from us, it may impact us so greatly that even other ways that we've easily been able to access joy in the past may feel distant to us. I grow old, though pleased with my memories. The tasks I can no longer complete are balanced by the love of the tasks gone past. I offer no apology, only this plea. When I am frayed and strained and drizzle at the end, please someone cut a square and put me in a quilt, that I might keep some child warm, and some old person with no one else to talk to will hear my whispers and cuddle near. This gift of a poem describes the joy of giving, as well as the joy of patience, the joy of loving, the joy of connection so well, I knew it was the thing for this Sunday dedicated to joy. Because joy is more and more complicated, I think, than simple happiness. I think that's also something that wasn't necessarily available to me as a child, uncertain what spiritual value I was supposed to be getting out of the agony of waiting for Christmas to arrive. And of course, I'm speaking of when I was far too young to have a sense of the joy of giving myself, when I was the age when the singular thrill of Christmas was the arrival of presents to unwrap, cookies to eat, and a break from school to enjoy. But I mean really the presents, mostly. My grandmother's quilt wasn't made out of old, well-loved scraps of cloth from hand-me-down clothes or towels, fabrics no longer quite up to the rigors of their original intended tasks, repurposed for the intention of giving warmth and comfort and joy. It was made out of store-bought stuff, an exercise she undertook at the suggestion of a well-meaning friend. But there's a discipline of patience in quilting, too, in so many crafts. I don't know what emotions my grandmother experienced during the construction of that quilt, but I know what the discipline of patience can bring to me now as an adult. I know it can bring a settled feeling to my heart and to my mind. Patience pushes me to experience presence so that my busy brain will stop leaping ahead to the next thing and the next and the next and just stop where it is. I wanted to talk about Advent today on this Sunday dedicated to joy because of the discipline of patience. Sometimes I think in our Unitarian Universalist congregations, we tend to go for the greatest hits of Christianity, and we lose some real insight along the way, even though it is necessary for us often to find the need to reframe harmful theologies and ideologies that might have been passed on to us in the past. So for those of you outside of the Christian idiom, who weren't raised in it, who didn't grow up celebrating Christmas, or not in the way that I did, or the way I've described it, I appreciate your patience, and I hope that you can find something to reflect on today. So as Nikki Giovanni's poem reminds us of the joy that can be felt at many stages of life, Howard Thurman's prayer reminds us that the values we may extol during the season of Christmas do not and should not disappear once the season is over. I will light candles this Christmas, candles of joy despite all the sadness, candles of hope where despair keeps watch, candles of courage where fear is ever present, candles of peace for tempest-tossed days, candles of grace to ease heavy burdens, candles of love to inspire all my living, candles that will burn all the year long. Now, the act of lighting a candle can in and of itself be another contemplative practice that can teach us patience. Meditating on a candle flame can remind us to ground ourselves in the present. No matter where we are in our lives, no matter how remote or present joy may feel to us, perhaps when you go home, you might light a candle. It can be any shape or size or color, although if you have a pink one, that would be extra awesome. Joy, hope, courage, peace, grace, love. These are available to us. They are our birthright. Separation from them is agony. And that's why we work and practice. We work to access these gifts when they feel distant. And as we grow in the discipline of patience and the gift of joy, we also come to understand that all of these do not belong to us alone. That joy creates more joy, hope creates more hope, courage creates more courage, peace creates more peace, grace creates more grace, and love creates more love, or has the potential to do so. In this season of waiting for all that is to come, not just the Christmas holiday, but the winter, the solstice, the new year, the secular new year, the spiritual new year, all that is beyond in the next year that we haven't yet dared dream or imagine. Open your heart to sharing these great gifts, to reminding others of these gifts. Open your heart to practicing patience when the gifts may feel distant, and knowing that we may find new ways to them as our minds and hearts and spirits stay open to the wonders of this world. So may it be. Now to that time during our service where we invite you into generosity. Each week we take a collection to support the work and the mission of this church that keeps love at the center of all that we do. The ushers will now accept the offering with gratitude. Thank you, choir, and thank you for your generosity this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sally Garber. It's my honor to represent the Caring Committee this morning. If you have a joy or concern that you would like to share, please take the time to either call the office or let the caring committee know by writing it in the book that you saw me pick up when I came up this morning. First of all, I want to share with you that today is not a national holiday, but perhaps it needs to, because it's the 70-ish birthday of Terry Smith. And this is my chance This is my chance to publicly thank Terry Smith and Linda Wood for helping yesterday with a memorial service that we had here at the church for a member of the community, not our community, but the greater community. They really were a wonderful help to me and to Rev. Jen. I also want to share with you that Tim Andriano reports that following a year-long battle to fix his leg, it was too damaged and had to be amputated on Tuesday. He is recovering well. He will return to Carilion rehab to have a prosthesis fitted and get physical therapy to learn to skip rope again. That's from Tim. And that is Tim. He's looking forward to returning to UUCR and his normal life early in 2025. He thanks everyone for your kindness, prayers, and well wishes. And I have to share with you that this morning Michael Adams said he really notices a change in attitude, that Tim is really now very upbeat. So for that, we're very grateful. If you would like to light a candle this morning for something that you're holding on your heart, please come forward during the between the music meditation, and please use both sides of the altar. Thank you.
It's not the glow you feel when snow appears. It's not the Christmas card you've sent for years. Not the joyful sound when sleigh bells ring, or the merry songs children sing. The little gift you send on Christmas Day will not bring back the friend you've turned away. So may I suggest the secret of Christmas is not the things you do at Christmas time, but the Christmas things you do all year through. So may I suggest the secret of Christmas is not the things you do at Christmas time, the Christmas things you do all year through.
May our prayers be heard and our hearts be restored.
Thank you, Sally. And since you mentioned that we did have a memorial service here yesterday for a community member, a young woman, 33 years old. So I'm going to light this candle for her family and all of the many people who loved her. And as I do each week, I'm going to light one final candle for everyone who's joining us on YouTube and cannot be here in person to light a candle. So now I invite you into a moment of prayer and reflection. Make yourself comfortable in your seat. Close your eyes if you are comfortable, or perhaps soften your gaze. We ask for patience. But also remember to have patience with yourselves as you are cultivating a practice of patience for others. We see it on bumper stickers. You don't know what someone else is going through, so be kind. This week, I ask you to cultivate kindness in your hearts, and we give our attention to spirit of life and all that is outside of our own self-space and say, how can I be more kind? How can I be more patient? How can I be more loving? What can I do? Even when the old ways may not feel as accessible, even when our lives are shifting, even when challenges arrive. We honor the joys and the sorrows that this season can hold for many right now. No matter what your faith of origin or your cultural practices, this can be a heavy time for many people, even as for many people it is a time of joy and delight. We know the human heart holds all of these complicated emotions together, and I know they certainly live within myself and live within each of you. So we ask again for a grounding of patience this week, patience for those in our lives who require it, patience for ourselves, loving to come back into relationship and into a space where that patience and the joy are accessible to you. So may it be.
And now, as we draw close to the end of our time together in worship this week, we turn our attention from within our own community and their joys and concerns, and we prepare to engage with the world in the week ahead. We'll begin with a few announcements. First, we are so grateful for your generosity. This week, we delivered our 100 care packages for unhoused students at Patrick Henry High School, right across the street, and all the warm winter coats to the West End Center for Youth. Today is the last day to donate to our collection for our partner church, Williams Memorial Baptist. If you happen to bring items with you today, they can be placed in the box on the stage. If you did not happen to bring items with you today, never fear. There's an envelope on the box where you can put a check or cash. And I believe Lorraine Fleck is bringing them right after the service, so immediately. Also, right after the service is our UUA Book Fair. This is a fundraiser for our UUCR library and features many selections from our UUA's In Spirit bookstore. 40% of the proceeds will go to the growing library here at UUCR. So think about picking up a gift or something for yourself, or even purchasing a book to add to our library. Looking ahead to Christmas Eve, we want you to know that we will hold our Feast of the Spirit special worship on Tuesday, December 24th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. Please bring a bell with you to share in some of the special music and general celebration of the evening. And finally, Gordon Malchevsky will come present the board report.
Good morning, everyone. As Lynn said, my name is Gordon Malchevsky, and I have the honor of serving as your board president. So just give you a quick recap of our last week's board meeting. We have plans underway. This is really exciting. Plans underway for a congregational celebration for Rev Gen's full fellowship in the UUA. So plans are currently underway, but if you would please mark your calendars for January 31st. More details will follow. Everyone is invited. And our UUCR website is changing formats, so we had some input at our board meeting for some suggestions. We will be consulting with various committee chairs along with staff to get some suggestions for improving the information on our website. The board also approved Rev Gen's association with Hollins University as they apply for a grant to support a ministerial internship program. And if that grant goes through, UUCR could sponsor the intern beginning next year. We also had some good progress made on some of our policies and procedures. We've updated policies for the facility use, and we even came up with a policy regarding displaying the flags outdoor the front of the church. So please see me in the fellowship hall or any board member after the service if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. And now, Jill, I would like to ask you, I'll throw in the note that if you missed any announcements or you're not on the mail list, go ahead and email admin@uuroanoke.org and you can get on there. And Jill, if you would now extinguish our chalice again, as we did at the start, we join with other Unitarian Universalist churches and congregations around the nation and the world in extinguishing the flame that we light here within the sanctuary, knowing that the light of our faith we carry within us and it comes with us to comfort us throughout the week.
Our closing hymn is People Look East, and you don't have hymnals, but it's up there on the screen. This is your chance to sing with us. People look east, the time is near, oh, the crowning of the year. When you go fair as you are able, drink the wine and set the table. People look east and sing to peace, love the guest is on the way. Furrows be glad, the world is bare, one more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, planting course, the flower may flourish. People look east and sing to taste, love the roses on the way. Stars become watch when night is near, one more light the bowl shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as the sun and moon together. People look east and sing to taste, love the star is on the way.
Go with peace in your hearts, patience in your spirits, and joy accessible to you all of this week and all of the season that is to come. Let peace grow in your hearts. May it be. I had that moment where I was like, Sheila's not here. Okay. I was like,
Oh, right. Yeah, we were.
I almost forgot it was happening, and then we had to add it to the script, and then Sheila wasn't. I was like, oh. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for adding in that part because I realized where I I wrote it anyway. I didn't.
There was a space in the script for you to go, and now the board moment, whoever's doing it. Yes. So great.
I like that you joined in with Jesse and the
Yeah, well,
admin.
and they checked in with Jesse, checked in with me to make sure that that would be okay, and I was like, yeah, absolutely.
That was really good.
Money I put underneath the pulpit in the back there, because there's decorations up here, so there you go. There you go. Thank you. Good that I've been the best part of the vow. I know, right? Here. You want to hit the Advent wreath too? So I would say I don't want to deny you the pleasure of extinguishing any candles.
Thank you.